Welcome to the Saturday financial edition of the Merriman Market Analyst and Fun Astrology Combined podcast. I'm Thomas Miller. Thank you so much for joining us. This is being recorded on August 26th. We are reading the free weekly column that is published every week at MMAcycles.com for the week of August 28th, 2023. Beginning today with a quote from the Wall Street Journal editorial board about, of course, Jerome Powell. Although inflation has moved down from its peak, a welcome development, it remains too high, Mr. Powell said. He added that the central bank will keep monetary policy at its current restrictive level until there is more evidence that inflation is truly whipped. Those comments coming Friday from the annual Economic Policy Conference at Jackson Hole, Wyoming. And then this from Dr. Paul Donovan on the UBS morning audio comment from Thursday. He said the BRICS group invited another 6 countries to join their photo opportunities. Brazil's President Lula noted that this took the group to 37% of global GDP. That ignores the obvious internal imbalance. It is like my claiming that my farm, plus Australia, is the second largest lamb producer in the world. With economic nationalism rising as structured change sweeps the global economy, collaboration will be hard to achieve, end quote. And Ray says it was an eventful week on many fronts. The Fed meeting at Jackson Hole, the BRICS meeting in South Africa, the accidental plane crash, quote-unquote, that killed Yevgeny Prigozhin, and the indictment of Donald Trump and 19 others on election interference in Georgia, etc. And yet the markets held their ground. The ground is shaky and certainly not yet secure. But that's about par for the course for both Mercury and Uranus turning retrograde, while Venus is poised to end its 6 weeks of retrogradation on September 3rd. As financial astrologers, we look at the market's behavior last week and think, is it going to reverse or is it going to break down? Mars was also in opposition to Neptune last week. So you'll have to excuse us if we see world leaders and current events exhibiting characteristics that seem passive-aggressive, with a lot of bark and no bite. The same behavior seemed present in the financial markets, which seemed on the brink of collapsing in many cases, but then gingerly trying to mount a rebound that nobody really trusted. In the U.S., for instance, stock indices were mostly higher into midweek when Mercury turned retrograde. It looked like they had bottomed the week before, but this is where the trickster is at its best, getting you to think the worst is over, the bottom is in, when really it's not quite so clear, especially when Mars is also in opposition to Neptune. They all turned south after Wednesday, with the Dow Jones Industrial Average making a new 6-week low on Friday, but the S&P and NASDAQ were still well above their lows of the prior week. And then all the indices rallied to close nicely higher on Friday. We call that a case of intermarket bullish divergence. The fact that it's happening right in the middle of 4 planets changing directions, Mercury, Uranus, Venus, and Jupiter, between August 23rd and September 4th, makes these cases of bullish or bearish divergence even more important as a signal that a reversal is taking place, or is about to do so. This is one of the core principles of financial astrology and how it can be used as a valuable market timing tool. Bitcoin was another example of how astrology worked well last week. As Mercury turned retrograde on Wednesday, August 23rd, Bitcoin made its weekly high and weekly low that very day. Mercury retrograde is known as a trickster in financial astrology because it is often present when the market gives false buy and sell signals, or fake-outs. It made the low first and then the high, so one would think that was a sign the market was going higher, except it didn't. It just flatlined the rest of the week between Wednesday's high and low, causing traders to wonder, is this going up or down? Like the Roadrunner, is it going this way or that way? Mixed signals and divergence were also noted in the precious metals. Silver exploded higher last week, but gold took out its prior week's low. Silver did not, and then tried to rally, but was not as explosive as silver. Usually, if the metals are going to be bullish, gold is the leader, not silver. But then again, Mercury is in retrograde, so conventional theories are not always followed. And now the short-term geocosmics and longer-term thoughts. A quote from The Economist midweek. Vladimir Putin, Russia's president, is generally someone who thinks that revenge is a dish best served cold. In my experience, Putin is the ultimate apostle of payback, so I would be surprised if Prigozhin escapes further retribution, said Bill Burns, director of the CIA. The Russian public may learn that it was a pilot's mistake or a fault in the plane that brought Mr. Prigozhin to his end. In Russia, nobody expects the truth to be told. That article in The Economist was entitled, Yevgeny Prigozhin's reported death may consolidate Putin's power, but it shows that Russia is a mafia state. Now Ray continues, saying one of the most powerful geocosmic time bands of the year is now underway, August 16th through September 8th. The importance of this period was covered at length in our webinar given last Sunday to our Chinese audience, which discussed not only the Chinese stock market and the RMB currency, the yuan and the US dollar, but also the US stock market, gold, crude oil, and Bitcoin. And for more information on that webinar, there is a clickable link in the article at the top, the free weekly news column link at the top of the MMAcycles.com website. In brief, this is a period in which we expect several financial markets to put in primary cycle highs or lows. This means it is one of the 3 to 4 best times of the year, based on our understanding of generic factors, to look for potentially very attractive risk-reward possibilities. We are seeing such setups develop now in stocks, metals, energy, currencies, and the crypto markets. Each is discussed in that presentation, so we won't repeat the opportunities again at this time, except to say, have a trading plan in place for this period. And, just as importantly, have an alternate plan in place if things don't unfold as you expect. For surely, with Mercury and Uranus turning retrograde, things are not likely to unfold exactly as expected. You may need to be clear in your communication with others. Be careful of accepting fixes, quote-unquote, for computer issues, and be flexible where expectations are concerned. Expectations are a sign of fixed or rigid personality traits, and both the trickster and its higher octave Uranus have a way of humbling those who are dogmatic and inflexible, or closed, in their beliefs and attitudes. A word of advice to get through this period. Just let it go. Breathe deep. Hold it, and gently let it go. And then see what comes to you. At its best, this can be a period of great inspiration and invention, but you have to let it go before you find a place within you to release all of that creative energy waiting to be tapped. And that's this week's newsletter, again available free at MMAcycles.com. And don't forget, the sun is opposite Saturn Sunday morning early, so that's going to be pulling on things as well. Lots of planetary energy pulling on us, like Ray mentioned. Have a great rest of the weekend. I'll see you back on Fun Astrology on Monday. Level Up Sunday night. Have a great day, everybody. Bye-bye. Thanks for listening.